Hey, what is up guys, GuitarRock here, welcome back to another Nikke Goddess of Victory video. So, let's talk a little bit more about this particular banner right here. I think a bunch of you guys have been asking me for the selective recruit, alright? So there's now a special recruit that you can recruit all pilgrims. They are currently much more difficult to access. Right here you can pick between 3 characters, and that's going to be Red Hood, Dorothy, and Modernia. Now which one is going to be worth picking in my opinion? So I'll try to give you guys a couple of possibilities of who you want to be looking out for depending on your account, because it's not going to be as simple as just pick this or just pick that. But generally, in my opinion, the best one out of these 3 is still going to be Red Hood, because she's still going to be relevant in that particular meta. So yeah, let's talk about this, let's jump into it. Now first things first, if you're only looking to get one character, you want to take advantage of daily free pulls. There's these daily free pulls that you can do every single day, alright? Now, you only want to recruit or go all in on the last day, right? Because daily free pulls is something that you want to take advantage of. You sometimes can get lucky, depending on how it is. This is going to last for, I believe, 2 weeks. Just make sure you guys follow the... okay, actually more than 2 weeks, right? Because it says 18 days left. So make sure you guys just look at the banner's duration and make sure you guys pay attention to that number right there. If you don't want to use your tickets to pull, you can also go over to the shop and use your gold mileage ticket. Alright, so that's going to be something that you can consider doing. As you can see, Nayuta is going to be here, Red Hood is going to be here, Dorothy is going to be here, and Modernia is going to be here. Now, before we proceed, alright, before you guys go all in and do all of these pulls, keep in mind, next week we have Liberaglio coming. And in my opinion, Liberaglio is going to be one of the strongest burst 3 character in the game. So I don't see why you want to go on the older characters in this particular case, because a lot of them have been power crept. So with that, just take those knowledge into consideration. You also want to consider saving a little bit for the upcoming Christmas event. They usually have 2 more limited characters that's coming, right? If you are looking to play this in the long term. Now, Pilgrims they are strong. Generally, they are very, very useful in the game. But you can't deny that now, because the game has added the Pilgrim wish list in you have the option to basically have a chance to obtain them from this one right here. Yes, it will be a while, but this Pilgrim wish list is something that players do not have access to last time. So with that, let's talk about all the characters. I'm going to start first with Modernia. Now, how strong is Modernia right now? And where does she stand in the meta? Modernia has pretty much been replaced as the best off-burst character, right? So if you're looking to get an off-burst character, in a lot of situations, then the best character to obtain or to use in that particular slot is going to be Mihara Bonding Chain. Mihara Bonding Chain is by far a better Modernia. She's just a literally upgrade if you're using them as an off-burst, that is, right? So what is an off-burst? An off-burst, basically, you are bringing a burst 1, 1 burst 2, and 3 burst 3. Now, because you are bringing 3 burst 3 characters, there could only be 2 burst characters that will burst, right? Because they alternate between each other. So the third one is not going to burst at all. In that particular case, you call them an off-burst character, right? Now, Modernia and Mihara Bonding Chain, they both are practically an off-burst character, means that they can do very high and consistent damage without bursting. And this is what makes them really, really strong. Now, sadly with Modernia, I don't know what the developers were thinking. Mihara Bonding Chain literally power creeps her because they are literally the same of everything, right? Same element, both are fire element, same weapon as well, both are machine gun weapons. So literally, if only they were different element or maybe like different weapon in a way, sure, that could like open up some possibilities. But because of that, like Modernia literally just, you know, she literally just got power crept, right? In a way. So that's going to be something to consider. Now, you might argue that Modernia can be used in story. Now, they have restructured the story right now. If you guys haven't entered the story, there's now a new mode. If you are just looking to basically read through the story, you don't have to like try hard as much as you do before. So that sort of reduce Modernia's pull value as a whole, right? It's not that she's completely useless, it's just that her pull value is no longer there, because you could argue that in some situations she can be used in story to try to get rid of the enemies in like maybe like a normal or even hard story, right, where some enemies needs like the machine gun shots and she can basically cover a pretty big area. But right now in the current situation that we have, it seems like she's rarely being used, right? So for a lot of meta players, she's just not going to cut it anymore. Now there are going to be some situations that you can still use her, for example in a raid with the fire element, right? So the fire advantage element, you can still use her. We got Drake for the shotgun team. Alice is still going to be strong. Mihara bonding chain, Rapid Red Hood is going to take the cake for that particular one. And then you got like Asuka for the collab characters, right? And of course with Vesti, I believe, and the Absolute Squad as a whole, there's a lot of place where Modernia is just going to slowly get phased out a little bit, right? Now, I would argue that you should only get her if you don't have the collaboration characters. Asuka and of course Rei in this particular case is going to be a thing, right? Because these two are from the collaboration characters. I'm not sure if they will rerun the collab or not, but that's going to be a factor to consider. With that, let's move on to the next one. The next one is going to be Dorothy. Okay, so this is going to be something that's very, very interesting. I feel like Dorothy used to be a very strong character and she used to compete with Lita, alright? Now, how time has changed, right? Now, Lita is still relevant, whereas Dorothy has been power crept a little bit, right? So she is going to be a burst 1 character, and right now, if you are not aware, for every single burst 1 character in the game, they need to have this particular thing called the cooldown reduction, alright? So the CDR, right? This particular thing. A cooldown of burst skill reduced by a certain period of time. Now that is going to be very, very important for a lot of burst 1 characters. Sadly, Dorothy's cooldown is not as high as some of the other characters, right? So if you are looking for burst 1 as a whole, right now the meta burst 1 is going to be Lita, alright? She's still meta, whether you like it or not. Top 3, Little Mermaid or Siren, she is probably going to be the best one, the best Pilgrim in that particular slot for burst 1. And the third slot, I would argue that you can either use Red Hood, the regular version, you can use Rapid Red Hood as a burst 1 as well, for those of you who are not aware. But usually you tend to use her as a burst 3, but you can basically use her as a burst 1 if you don't bring any other burst 1 characters. But we also have characters like the Killer Wife, which gives a bunch of CDR, alright? She is a very, very strong character in that particular case. She also gives Pierce right here. Hers is fixed at, I believe, 7 seconds if you max this. Mine is not max, but that's going to be an option. And of course, Rouge is also going to be an option if you are looking to basically place characters next to her, right? So, and adjacent of her. She also gives a bunch of CDR right here, as you can see. Cooldown of burst skill reduced by 7 seconds. So one of the best partner with Cinderella. So you can see Dorothy doesn't really, she's no longer in the top 5 if you are looking for, you know, to building a raid team. Why do I say top 5? It's because when you build solo raids, generally you can only use up to 5 teams, right? And in some situation, maybe you can get away with her if you don't have any of the characters that I mentioned, but depending, like for example, if you're fighting a fire weak raid, you are most likely going to use like Emma alongside with Vesti and you know, Yunhua in that particular slot. So in that case, there's just way more competition right now. And if it's an electric raid, then XR is going to shine right there, right? Sadly, that's going to be the nature of Dorothy. Now, is she completely useless? She probably will be the least priority, right? She's probably going to be the 5th team, 4th to 5th team. She's not going to be the top 3 teams anymore. So that's going to be a little bit sad. I feel like the person that practically power creeps her is not the burst 1 characters, actually, believe it or not. It's going to be Cinderella herself, alright? So if you guys are not aware, Cinderella is like right now the strongest electric DPS character in the game, right? Now before Cinderella, the meta was divided, more balanced or more divided. We got Scarlet, the regular one, not the Scarlet Black Shadow. We got Swimsuit Anis. Swimsuit Anis was one of the best DPS character back then, and because she was one of the better ones, you basically can do Dorothy and Privity with Swimsuit Anis to basically make like a pretty interesting team, right? That was like one of the old meta teams for people that don't have Cinderella. But once Cinderella came into the equation, she basically, her damage literally doubled from Swimsuit Anis one. It just doesn't make sense to use that team anymore. So you use Swimsuit Anis to basically boost Cinderella because the damage is so freaking high. You use Swimsuit Anis as a support right now, right? So I feel like that pretty much changes the meta towards from Dorothy, away from Dorothy, right? So it's going to be Cinderella. She practically makes Dorothy seldom being used in a lot of the raids, sadly. So that comes to our third character in question. In my opinion, the best one to pick if you are looking to get one of these characters, and that's going to be Red Hood, Red Boot. Alright, so let's talk about Red Hood a little bit. So Red Hood probably, even by design, she's probably going to be hard to replace because she's one of the few characters in the game, actually she's the one and only character in the game that can do Burst 1, Burst 2 and Burst 3. This in itself is going to give her the flexibility because if you have a character dies, she can easily take that slot. Granted, she can only do it once per battle. Yes, I get it. But in a lot of sense, in a lot of cases, I feel like she is going to be the best choice for a lot of players, right? She also can do a lot of insane bursts. You can also use her as a burst 1 dedicated or a burst 3 dedicated as well, right? So that's going to be how flexible she is. In terms of damage, her damage is going to be insane. Now it is going to be dependent on if the enemy has parts or not. Like if the enemy has parts, like you can see in my previous video where we compare her with Crown, she literally demolishes, right? In if you're fighting something like Ultra, for example, she shines right there, right? If the enemy do have parts and she do have the elemental advantage against the enemy. So in my opinion, Red Hood, since she's a DPS character, she is still going to be the strongest in her category, in her class, right? So Iron type. So right now the top 5 Iron type, in my opinion, I mean not just my opinion, but this is like a factual thing, is going to be Raven is going to be top up there alongside with Bunny Milk. She's also one of the strongest, right? And then we got Eve. If you make a dedicated team for her, she's going to be very, very strong. And then you get Red Hood, alright, she's also going to be there. So she's literally either in the top 3 or top 4, right? Depending on whether you're trying to make a specific team for Eve or not. But I would say she's literally one of the top meta characters if you're looking to tackle Iron weak raids. So comparatively with all of these other characters right now, she's going to shine. And she's probably going to shine for a long time coming unless we have more Iron characters that fill up the raid, which is going to be a little bit sad because if you look at the amount of Iron characters that we have compared to the amount of fire characters that we have way more fire characters, right? There's just way more fire generally. So that's just going to be how it is. And Modernia is going to be in a tougher spot than Red Hood just due to that nature, right? So once the elements balance out more, then things are going to be shifting a little bit here and there. But right now, in my opinion, if you have to absolutely pick one and can only afford to pick one, then I would say get Red Hood. Now again, you should only probably do it after next week, alright? I would save your tickets, save your funds as much as you can for Liberaglio, because I think Liberaglio is going to be the one that makes more sense for more players, alright? Generally, that's going to be something to consider, so you have to slowly try to get that. And also don't forget to use this ticket, alright, before the event ends. There's this thing called the selective recruitment voucher, so you are sort of forced to use this particular ticket as well because it doesn't convert to anything, right? Unused will be deleted after the selective recruitment ends. So make sure you guys use it. You get this, as far as I know, from daily as well. They are giving it out to you right now. Where is it? I saw it. Yeah, so you get one every single day. And it seems like for another 7 days, we'll be getting a lot of this, right? So make sure you guys are aware of that. Right now, during the event, you get a lot of these tickets to pull for that particular banner. It's a special banner after all. But regardless, I would still probably prioritize Liberaglio. That's still going to be the priority. But if you want to pick one out of the 3, Red Hood is going to be the choice. Alright, so with that being said, that's going to be it for this particular video. Let me know what you guys think of the meta characters right now in the game. As per usual, as per always, subscribe if you guys are already. Give this video a like. I'm going to go make the mini game guide. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a nice day. Goodbye.